I'm at Alaska Airlines Gate B. This is C2. And this is my best friend Tiffany. She's helping me out going to Kotzebue today. Kotzebue is in the Arctic Circle, just about 25 miles north of the Arctic Circle. And there's a really cool park there. I'm going to take a look at that and show you the things to see and do at that interesting park. Kotzebue, home of the Fighting Huskies. On my left shoulder is the small town of Kotzebue, Alaska, and it's about 3,000 residents. They have an airport, and it's serviced by Alaska Airlines. Is the only commercial airline that comes in here. They have three flights a day that come in here. Most people get around here by those ATVs, or there are some vehicles, mostly flights in and out. In order to get over to the national park, you have to take an air taxi. Here they have a grocery store with very expensive foods. They have a bank. They have about 3 restaurants. They have 1 hotel. They have a couple a bed and breakfast, and they have a couple Airbnbs that you can find online. But other than that, the lodging's pretty minimal. It's the home of the midnight sun. So the sun does not set here until like 1 o'clock in the morning this time of year. So it's a long daylight of sun. But then in the wintertime, it's hardly any sun at all, only like 1 or 2 hours at the most. Russia's right over there, not too far away. But the water's like laughing up here. Certain times of year, in the wintertime, this freezes all the way down here. And so this is a block of ice down into the Arctic Sea. so cool to be this close and this far north above the Arctic Circle here at Kotzebue. To another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff. And as Wes and I'm in the town of Kotzebue, population 3,000 here in Alaska above the Arctic Circle. And this is the Northwest Arctic Heritage Center. It is also the home to the National Park Service Visitor Center for Kobuk Valley National Park. I'm in the Western Heritage Museum and the Visitor Center here in Kotzebue, and it's pretty cool. It tells about the animals, the terrain, and everything that there is to see and do here at Kobuk Valley. So, of course, the fishing is a big thing here. Some of the animals, like these guys here, the musk ox and the fur that they use from it, and this little guy right there, the lynx, and then there's the wolverine that's hidden right in there. This is their traditional sled here that they use for the caribou harvest that they do each year. They've been doing that for over 8,000 years. This is pretty interesting. The different types of canoes that they build. And this is how they hang the salmon to dry out. It's a really nice display. You spend a couple hours here, and of course this is the caribou trying to cross over the ice with their baby. And they have the muskoxen fur that you can touch and feel. It's very soft. And some of the wildflowers that they have here, blueberry, stinkweed, etc. Some of the different types. This is whale blubber that they hang to dry, and seal flippers, and how they harvest different things and use the environment for their subsistence. And it's just a whole different way of life, and they've done it for thousands of years here. Nice little museum, and some of the shoes that they make. And I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but I think it's Impwa. And these are the different native tribes from the area are out here. Different tools that they utilize. Caribou hunting at Portage. That's where they cross over each year for their migration, coming south in the fall. Just really interesting. And this is some of the terrain in the park. And then they're very informative about about the park. And then there's a little movie that you can watch about the heritage of the folks here. Here's a big old grizzly bear, which is also called a brown bear. And this is Christina, and she's a park ranger here. She's very informative. And this is the musk ox. Musk ox, they're stinky, but they're kind of a buffalo or bison looking thing. It's really hard. And of course it has a view of the Arctic Sea out there and some of the artwork. And then this big old canoe is hanging up here. Traditional canoe that they make. And here's the park map. And this center and museum covers the Bering Land Bridge, as well as this Cape National Monument. And right now we're in Kotzebue. And the actual park is over here in Kobuk Valley, the Sand Dunes. Another kayak looking thing. This is we're way above the Arctic Circle. There's the North Pole right here. So yeah, we're way far north. This is the Bering Sea that we're up against. Here's a big old polar bear. And these are some of the woolly mammoths that inhabited this back in the day, and how they came over from Siberia over to Alaska. And their tusk, big long tusk. There's that polar bear. It's really nice display here at the Northwest Arctic Heritage Center. There's a few air carriers that'll take you into the national park, land you on the sand dune, or just flight scene. And they have the Heritage Center here, which is pretty cool, which is right beside the airport. And that's the Heritage Center there. Really cool inside and very informative. But you're just like a half a block from the Arctic Sea and the Kotzebue Sound. So very cool. It's a beautiful day today. It is so hard to get a nice day like this where it's sunny and no clouds and not raining. They only have a few days a year. So hopefully I'm going to be able to go on my little tour out to the sand dunes and also over to Gates of the Arctic National Park today on one of their little tours. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So I'm in Kotzebue, and I am lucky enough that I was able to get to go out to Kobuk Valley, out to the sand dunes. I'm ecstatic. And we're going to be going on this little guy here with the Golden Eagle Outfitters. So gonna be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it. Stick with me today, and I'll show you the things to see and do here at Kobuk Valley National Park. 8 of us in this little aircraft heading out to Kobuk Valley, and you can see the Arctic and then so there's 9 of us total. Another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and I am in the Arctic Circle of Alaska at Gates of the Arctic National Park. I have been very fortunate that I have been able to come to the Gates of the Arctic National Park twice. Once on Right Air, we flew into Anaktuvuk Pass, and I spent the day there. And then now I'm here coming in on the Kotzebue side, and I flew over Kobuk Valley National Park into the Gates of the Arctic. And they land on this sandbar. The sandbar has gravel like this, big cobblestones, but they are able to land on this. And a lot of people are camping out here. They brought them out to camp. So they said the water's safe to drink, so to drink it, but this is absolutely beautiful. The color of the water is this turquoise color, and the trees and the mountains all around. This is Gates of the Arctic National Park at its best. This is a great spot to land here on this gravel bar here in Gates of the Arctic. It's absolutely amazing weather today. Our pilot just told us that it's 88 degrees here. That is unheard of. They don't have many days. I mean, you can count them on one hand how many days that it tops 80 degrees here at the Gates of the Arctic National Park. So it's an exceptional day. There's a few clouds in the sky, but not a lot. And it's absolutely beautiful and stunning scenery. So if you get a chance, be sure and come to the Gates of the Arctic and the Kobuk Valley combination tour out of Kotzebue. It's amazing. You will not be disappointed at all. A little on the expensive side, but it's totally worth every penny. It's a once in a lifetime chance. So there's the rest of my party. We're gonna get probably about 30 minutes on the ground, and then we're gonna be back in there and headed to the sand dunes over at Kobuk Valley. But this is absolutely beautiful. So this is the gravel runway that we landed on with that plane. And here's our runway strip. And then these are the folks that are all camping out here for a few days. They've been dropped off, and then they've been arranged to pick up at a certain time. So they're just camping along the river here. And they have a drinking water source because this water is super clear. And you probably have to watch out for bears and some of the other wildlife. But you kind of, in this valley, it's absolutely beautiful. This water is just so clear and so nice. It's just amazing. Can't beat the scenery. This scenery is top notch. This is what your screensaver on your computer, the screensaver on your computer would be a picture such as this. So it's that amazing. It's just very fortunate to be able to say that I've been to this location at Gates of the Arctic National Park. This was number 59 that I did last September, and now I'm back almost a year later, and this beautiful view and this wonderful weather here at the Gates of the Arctic. Loving it. So this is where the plane landed on the sandbar here at Gates of the Arctic. And I'm gonna take just a little bit of a hike, just a little ways, because we have 30 minutes here. Just gonna go this way a little bit. And this is Tundra. So when you step on it, it's kind of squishy. I know other people have done the same thing. They've walked into the tundra here just to say that they've kind of taken a little hike back into the gates of the Arctic. And it doesn't go very far, but just so they can see beautiful blue skies and beautiful scenery. in the Arctic Circle of Alaska at Kobuk Valley National Parks here on the sand dunes. There are actual sand dunes here. They're 25 miles long sand dunes, and it's sand that was crushed by the glaciers back in the Ice Age, and it was ground down, and then the winds have blown it back and forth and created these sand dunes. Some of the sand dunes are 100 feet tall, but he landed this bush plane, this plane we've been on with Golden Eagle Outfitter. He landed this plane on this sand. It wasn't as smooth as I thought it was going to be of a landing, but he landed it out here in these sand dunes. It's amazing. The coarseness of it, it's really fine. Look at that. It's so fine. That's the sand out here. And it's amazing because I don't know how we did it, but we picked a day that is the hottest that they have experienced this whole season. It is 92 degrees here in the Arctic Circle. We're about 35 to 40 miles north of the Arctic Circle line. So we are well within the Arctic Circle, and it is 92. This breeze here at the top of this hill actually feels wonderful right now. I got this dark blue shirt on and I'm like feeling it. But amongst the sand dunes here, some vegetation does survive. So these little clumps of grasses. And when we landed, that was the other thing. When we landed, we were greeted by one of the Alaska state troopers, and that's his plane right there. He was waiting for us. His name's Steve, and our pilot from Golden Eagle Outfitters knew him, and so they're chit-chatting now. But the funny part is he said, "Hey, did you bring the kiddie pool? It's hot here." So we all got a kick out of that. But this is amazing, all of these sand dunes here at Kobuk Valley National Park. I'm just amazed. It's such a cool thing to see. And there's no footprints. There's very few people come out here. The only way you can get out here is by one of these planes to drop you in here, or you can hike up from the river, but it's a 2-mile hike from the river. This is park number 62 out of 63. Just one more to go. This is a doozy of a park though. So hard to get to. Very expensive to get out here, but totally worth it. This was one of the ones I had pushed off into the very end because it was so hard to get here and to time a perfect day, and I scored an A+ today because this is a really good day. It's hot here actually, and that's just unheard of, being 92 on these sand dunes. When we landed over at Gates of the Arctic, it was 88. So 2 very nice days here at these 2 beautiful parks. Sand dunes are like 25 to 30 miles wide, and they were glacier formed, and and they're like the North America's only glacier-formed sand dunes that are this far north. And this area is really important because the caribou migrate, and they go right through this area twice a year, once in the fall and then once in the spring. So in the fall they go through about September, the second week of September, and 500,000 of them, a herd of these Arctic caribou, go through this area and cross over the Kobuk River and through these sand dunes. They leave their marks in these sands and they head south to their calving grounds. And then in the springtime they head back north for their feeding grounds. So there's two mountain ranges here that they frequent. So here at Kobuk Valley National Park, it was established as a park back in 1978. It was actually established as a national monument, and then 2 years later, in 1980, it was established as a national park. And then this is one of the least visited parks in the whole system. Only about 17,000 visitors make it out here a year. So it's 1.75 million acres, or 2,609 square miles large. It's roughly the size of the state of Delaware. It's located 25 to 30 miles north of the Arctic Circle, so it's completely, the whole park is completely in the Arctic Circle. And the mammals found here, there's the grizzly bear, there is the lynx, there's the musk oxen, there's the Arctic foxes, there's wolverines, there's gray wolves, moose, snowshoe hares, all of those winter type animals, mammals that make this place their home. We have not seen many of them. It's a hot day here. It's 92 degrees, so they're all like in the shade. They're up in the forest areas. So Kobuk Valley is home to one of the largest migration of those caribou that go through here. And so the Native Americans here that have been here for 8,000 years, they use those caribou as subsistence. They actually use those as their meat to get them through the winter. So they're still allowed to hunt those caribou, and they come through this area as well as a place called Portage, and they know that they're going to come through that area. They cross over the river, and that's an area that they're going to be coming into. But the indigenous people still gather each year there and harvest. They call it harvesting instead of hunting the caribou every year. The caribou have the longest terrestrial migration on the planet of any animal, and they travel up to 1,000 miles in one direction, but they're always on the move. So they can travel up to 2,700 miles per year, one caribou. So that's just amazing. Kobuk Valley is home to one of the oldest archaeological sites in Alaska, Portage, which is not far from the sand dunes here along the Kobuk River. They have found bones and existence of population that was here 8,000 years ago. Getting to the national parks here from Kotzebue is very difficult. You have to book in advance, and one of these providers here, like the Golden Eagle or Bearing Air, they actually go into some of the smaller villages, but not into the national park. But there's a couple others that do. You have to book well in advance, otherwise you take your chance. Today I took my chance, and there was one seat open, so I was able to occupy it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it was expensive. It was $1,750 to go to both parks, but it was about 4.5 hours. They land in both of the parks, both gates of the Arctic as well as Kobuk Valley on the sand dunes. So it was a great experience. If you get all the way out here to Kotzebue, you should look into going out to visit these parks and taking one of these air taxis over. Enjoyed my video here of Kobuk Valley National Park. Please hit the like button down below, and please consider subscribing to our channel. This is number 62 on our list of going to all 63 national parks in the United States. It was an awesome park. I really enjoyed myself. I hope you did too. Have a great day, and whatever you're doing today, get out to the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile.